So we're on OTA 6 today, working some different situations, a little bit more first and second down stuff. Again, just kind of taking it day by day, making some strides as we go. Looking forward to going out there and having a good day. All right, we good?
Tavon, good. Thought you look like you left when we were at last week. He's in a red jersey.
Yeah, he'll be in a red jersey today, along with some of the other guys. I'd say this with the red jersey guys, they're all making progress, taking it day by day, but they're all doing a good job of doing the rehab that they need to do, with whatever that's required of them.
Any long-term training camp concerns with him? Whatever happened?
No, I don't think there's really any. I mean, we'll see. It's day to day. I'm talking about for everybody. I think the red jersey guys are making progress. Hopefully, we'll have everybody ready to go.
Ryan, can you talk a little bit about Julian Love? He just, he's one of those guys, steady performer without a lot of fanfare.
Yeah, dependable, smart. He plays tough on tape. I think he's done a good job in his group, being a good leader for us. Good communication with X out there. Really a pleasure to be around. It seems like we can use him in a lot of different roles, and he's, I'd say, ready for that challenge in terms of understanding the playbook and then being able to perform it out there on the field up to this point.
Brian, you're coming at things for, most of your career has been as an offensive coach. When you're out here and you see Wink do things defensively, do you process it as an offensive coach and do you say, man, that's hard to beat?
Yeah, my first 5 years in football were learning defense from Nick Saban and Belichick and a couple other good coaches that I've worked for. I've obviously been doing offense for a while. I think one of the reasons we decided to hire Wink was, he does run, I'd say, a multiple scheme, presents certain challenges to you offensively. He's a good communicator. I think he does a good job of leading the defensive coaches and players out there. But yeah, I'd say it's always a learning process. You get a appreciation for the players. You're running a system and you're installing it, and those guys, this is tough. And then I'm trying to make sure I'm up to speed on all the defensive stuff and what we call it and why we do certain things, as well as the kicking game. But yeah, there's a lot to it. Yeah.
Brian, you mentioned last week wanting Daniel to be aggressive, taking shots. How has he done with that through 5 of these practices?
Good. Again, I think those are all good learning lessons. Can he fit in that window? Can he move the safety with his eyes? Can he anticipate where a receiver is going to be based on the choice that the receiver has? That's going to be all the way through, the rest of these OTAs and through training camp. I think that's why you practice. For a quarterback especially, it's okay to make a mistake in practice. I mean, you touch the ball on every single play. Let's go ahead and find out, what we need to work on, and let's continue to be as aggressive as we can.
With Wink, I think the first word anyone used to describe his defense is aggressive. When you were looking for a defensive coordinator, was that a priority, or you just liked him, or did you there's other ways you can play defense, obviously?
Sure.
Was it his style one that really appealed to you?
Yeah, I'd say that, one, he did a good job in the interview. Two, his system is difficult to prepare for as an offensive coach. So again, there's got to be a good meld of personalities and a lot of other things that go into it. But certainly his defenses, they were aggressive, presented certain challenges as an offensive play caller, and when you're game planning stuff. Again, we're in day 6 here. He's put a lot in. I'd say it's still difficult when you're an offensive coach. Offensive coach has got to go back. You don't game plan against your team, but there are certain challenges to it. We good?
I know you're big on relationships.
What'd you say, Pat?
You're a big guy on relationships.
Yeah.
What have you seen from the players and Wink melding together and coming together?
Yeah, I think Wink's a very genuine guy. I'd say this: the first day that he stood in front of the defense, I was in that meeting, and it was pretty quiet. He was the guy that was talking most of the time, but I'd say he encouraged his input and a good give and take in there. And now when I go in there, the first 5 minutes, it's like a party for 5 minutes. Everybody's talking, laughing, telling stories. So I think he's done a good job of loosening those guys up. But we got to go a long way to go with those guys.
As a first-time head coach, you can pick
pick who you want on your staff, and the dynamics of it, and to bring in a big personality like that. Some first-time head coaches may say, I don't want to, he may be too much of a personality. You obviously weren't afraid of that at all.
No, I think that that's the job of a leader, is to be able to lead and communicate and build relationships with, a lot of good people on your staff. Different people. Some might be a little bit more timid, some might be a little louder. Same thing when you're looking for players. I think if you can develop good relationships and build trust and be a good communicator, that you can deal with anybody. But I'd say, look, when we were hiring a staff, there's a lot of people involved in that. So when we interviewed some of the defensive coordinators, I'd say Wink, there was, 7 or 8 people involved in that, on Zoom meetings, asking questions. Jerome Henderson was involved in that, Trier, Bobby Johnson, guys that were already on the staff, because I think it's important not one person can, for example, there was that's all right. Yeah.
Brian, to this point, what are the most significant things that you've learned about Daniel?
He wants to be good, wants to be coached. I'd say he's tough on himself, which is good and bad for a quarterback too, because you got to be able to move on to the next play rather quickly, since you touch the ball on every play. Ask a lot of good questions. He's been out here on the field. I think he's improved since we've been here. I say fundamentally understanding what we want to try to do, and just try to bring out the best in him. And I think he wants to be as good as he can be for this football team. Obviously, he has had a, kind of up and down first few seasons, but it takes everybody. You see the growth of some of these young quarterbacks from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 to year 4 that have consistency in system, add playmakers around them, entire team. I think, look, we got to try to work towards that the best we can.
Did you talk to him personally about the decision not to go with your option? I know he mentioned that,
Yeah.
that, he got the sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep those personal conversations personal, in terms of dealing with the players and respect to that. But I think we have a good relationship. And look, those decisions and those conversations, whatever they are, whether it's that or you're releasing a player, or you're cutting down on a player's play time, or you're adding players' times, those will always be personal to me and the player. But he's a pro.
How tough a conversation is that, though? Because in a way, it can be viewed as, hey, they don't have full confidence, so they don't, they're not fully invested in me.
Yeah, I just think you're honest, Jordan, with the player or the person in the organization that you're dealing with, and I think you have mutual respect, and that's how those conversations go.
I saw that Tom Coughlin was here the other day.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with him?
I haven't. I've known Coach, obviously, from being in the league for a while. Got to talk to him the other day. Didn't have much of a relationship prior to getting here, but just a tremendous amount of respect for what he's done as a coach and as a man. The foundation that he represents. Going through some tough times right now, and just got a ton of respect for how he went about his business. A good resource to have, obviously, in the spot that I'm in right now.
Anything else?
That's why I'm out here 10 minutes early.
Can you make it to Raleigh by 7 tonight?
I cannot, but go Rangers.